we are going to talk about one important premise. What is that premise? The premise is of today's discussion is that what we are going to do, we are going to start with how to approach the legal principles and whether or not prior knowledge of law is important. Correct? So it has been stated time and again that in the changed pattern, we do not require any prior knowledge. That's correct. That's very right. So we do not require any prior knowledge. But then it comes to whether or not do we need any conceptual understanding. Yes, we do need any conceptual understandings also. But then how we can still manage to understand whatever is given in the passage. That's right. So we were discussing and we are going to discuss at length the essentials of a contract. The essentials of a contract. So the students, those who had already received that class of, discussing the essentials, already know what is this happening. Already know what we are going to talk about. But then students, those who are new to this particular thing, just give me a moment. My pen is not working. Pen नहीं काम करेगा तो class में मजा ही नहीं आएगा. Just give me a moment. Annotation कहाँ गया? Annotation. I share this thing. Yes, now it is there. So let's see if this is the principle given. Let's say if this is the principle given. Do not worry, I'll give you factual situations also. But what we are going to do is, as it is, a principle is given to you in your CLAT examination, one passage. A principle is given as it is. So now we are going to do a step-by-step reading of this. And now we are going to understand with reference to situations that I'll be giving it to you after the class. I mean, after the class means after discussing the entire passage. So this is section 10. And I believe, I expect you all to be patient. Do not put anything in chat in between because I won't be able to catch it up. I'll definitely refer to the charts and the doubts once this is done. So be ready with your pen and a paper. Try to make a note of how we are approaching this passage. It's a direct section of an Indian Contract Act, and you are very new to these concepts. But without wasting much time, I'm stating it to 2022 aspirants. Without wasting much of your time, I would directly like you to jump to this part. How to approach a legal passage, right? And 2021 aspirants, I request you all, actually तुम लोग की class अभी बंद कर देनी चाहिए थी, but then वो class बीच में हमारी end हुई, तो वो भी मुझे सही नहीं लगा. So I thought of combining you all together, joining you all together so that we can take it up. I hope you don't mind. You guys are seniors, and under your directions, 2022 aspirants would be happy enough to see that there are certain students who are already taking guidance from us. So in that light, let's deal with the passage. All right. What agreements are contracts? So basically in the start, this section starts with a question as to what agreements are contracts. Generally, we are bound to believe, we are habitual to believe that agreements or contracts are synonymous, but they are not. There are certain differences between agreements and contracts. So can anyone from 2021 batch highlight me as to when an agreement will not be a contract, or what is the basic underlying difference between agreements and contracts? Can anyone come up and tell me? Nobody is going to judge anyone over here. Be very free. Talk all this. Can anyone come up? Come on, man. तुम लोग मेरा डिफेमेशन करोगे यहाँ पे. मिहिका, श्रावणी.
सर लीगली बाइंडिंग जो होते हैं वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स और बाकी सब एग्रीमेंट्स.
लीगली बाइंडिंग जो होते हैं वो एग्रीमेंट है और बाकी सब लीगली बाइंडिंग जो है वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होते हैं, बाकी सब एग्रीमेंट होते हैं. वेरी वेल, श्रावणी. आई एम मच impressed. So she says that all agreements are contracts provided that such agreements should be legally binding. such agreement should be legally binding. Means an agreement combined with an intention to create what? Legal obligation. Like in one of the example we discuss usually that what do we discuss? In one of the example we discuss that a friend promised, I promised to a friend that tomorrow at 8 p.m. I will attend your party. So there was two parties, me and my friend. There was some proposal to come into a party. I accepted that. So it became a promise. There was a proposal and a promise. So what was the consideration? The consideration was that it's my birthday party. Would you please come because you're my friend? I said, all right. Would there be food? He said, yes, a good food would be there. I said, okay, I'll come to your party. So that became a promise. Now, promise when was considered, was accompanied by two considerations that he wanted me there because it was his birthday party. He wanted his friend to be there. And I went to that party because it was his birthday. Combined was that there was good food. So I had an object and he also got something in return. So something in return for return became a promise. And when they were combined with two objectives, it became an agreement. But was there any intention to create a legal obligation? Which means that if I do not attend my friend's party, would my friend sue me in court that he did not comply with the promise he made or an agreement that he did? Will he do that? Which is why we come across to such things that social relationship contracts are not, agreements are not contracts. One thing, you cannot sue me for not coming to your party. No, you send me an invitation card for your marriage. You came with all the family, relatives and all that. You came to my house. You gave me the invitation card and you said, please come. Please come. You're an important person. Please come. So you gave me an offer. I took it. I promised you, yes, I'll come. For them, the consideration was an important person to be there in their marriage. And for me, the consideration was to have a good food. But then there was no such intention to create a legal obligation. A legal obligation is expressly stated in a contract. In the last, it is always mentioned that if you do not abide by the terms and conditions stated above, the adversary, the aggrieved person, has the complete right to move to a court. Whenever such clause is entered into a contract, you see, there is a legal obligation on you to follow the terms and conditions. Read any privacy policy. You download an app, you installed Facebook, everything, right? Read their privacy policy, terms and conditions. At last, you will find that any such non-inconsistent approach to the principles stated above would attract a legal obligation. So, along with everything, what has to be there? Along with everything, there has to be an intention to create a legal obligation. We all are clear with that. But along with that, there are certain other essentials that has to be understood in the light of Section 10. Students, those who do not know anything about contract, please do not panic. Please do not think that everything is going in haywire. How step by step we are approaching it, you'll come to know. Correct? Have patience. So when we read all agreements, which means that none of the agreements would not be a contract. All agreements are contract. Underline this. Now there is a statement if, put a gap, if they are made by the free consent of parties. Okay, sir, free consent, matlab meri apni marzi se. So when the consent is not free, bachcho, when the consent is not free, people know it. I believe so. Who all know when the consent is not free? There are 5 elements when the consent is not free. You know it or not? Yes, Rini.
Coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake of fact.
Very well. So these are the 5 conditions when we say that The consent is not free. Coercion, fraud, misrepresentation, undue influence, and mistake of fact. So the consent has to be free means that you have to agree to the terms and conditions by your own marzi, apni ichha se. So first thing, free consent, and the exceptions to the free consent are already stated. Do not worry. Do not worry if you do not know. We'll deal with it. As of now, we are dealing with the contextual reading. Free consent of parties underline competent to contract such that there has to be two parties. Both the parties should have a competency to enter into a contract. Now, how do we decide the competence? How do we decide the competence? We decide competency by two things. We decide, yes, yes.
Minor is not competent to contract, and lunatic is not competent to contract.
Yes. So there are two conditions, two type of persons who are not competent to contract. First is that minor. Who are minors? मतलब under 18 के जो लोग हैं, 18 साल के नीचे के जो लोग हैं, they are not competent to enter into a legal obligation. Right? They cannot sue or be sued in the court of law. Second, minor, apart from the minor, who else? Lunatic. Lunatic means a person of unsound mind. A person of unsound mind. Ek pagla, madman, is not competent to contract. Why? Because the lunatic, unsound mind person cannot. I mean, lunatic and unsound mind both are different things. I'll tell you how. But right now, understand that an unsound mind or a lunatic person cannot ever give a free consent. Cannot ever agree to something on his own. He's always motivated by either his lunatic mind or because of his unsoundness. Now, unsoundness is also attracted when you are intoxicated, when you are not in your conscience, when you're not in your consciousness. How? Okay, you do not drink. Let's assume that you do not drink. I mean, that assumption should be right. So, you do not drink. You happen to go to a party and you are the iklota waris. You understand the iklota waris? The sole child of your family, of your business. And your friends know it, that you are going to be given all the properties of the father and everything. Or let's assume that you already have a car of your own and like this. You went to party with your friends. You said that you won't drink. Your friends do drink. Under peer pressure, we liked the atmosphere and we thought that, okay, it's okay, we are chilling here. Try कर लेता हूँ. एक sip मारी लेता हूँ. ठीक है चलो. बनाओ, pick बनाओ. You took that. Since you are not habitual drunkard, since you do not drink it out of habit, so your mind was not accustomed to bear that what we say, the euphoria that we receive usually after drinking. I don't want you all to experience it ever, but still, yeah, let's assume that you understand what I'm talking about. So after drinking, mast ho gaya ekdam. Okay, now you do not know. You are not in your senses. You do not know where you are walking, where you are moving, what you are eating. तुमको कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है because it's your first time. Now suddenly your friend comes. Okay, let's do a competition. All right, let's try to put a beautiful signature. Let's see how our signature is. Your friends come, and suddenly you get into conscious. Oh, we are going to do something. Okay. रह रहे हैं हम ऐसे से हो रहा है लेकिन हमने क्या बोला साइन कर दिया आपने आंखें बंद थे लेकिन signature comes habitual. Signature is very handy. Even in your closed eyes, you will write your signature the same way you write with your open eyes. That is the instinct. That becomes your instinct. So you signed it on a piece of paper and you presumed that the person took it just for fun. They were having some kind of testing beautiful signatures. But then the moment you came into your consciousness the next morning, you realized that your friends have made you sign a thing where they have exactly stated that the car Honda Civic belonging to me is being granted to so and so persons by my free will. And I have no intention to put them or put any complaint against them because I am granting my car as a gift to my friends because I am really happy today. My friends are so good. And I signed it and then the date was put. Now tell me, practically and common sense application tells me that this does not seem right. There is something lafda. This does not seem right to me. Exactly. To law is also common sense. To law also, when you are not in a state to decide for your own self, you are of unsound mind at that time. So unsound mind is not always, it does not always mean that you actually have some mental trouble. It also means that you are not in your consciousness to decide what is good or bad. So any activity done under the any crime done in the voluntary intoxication. Now there are two things also: voluntary intoxication, involuntary intoxication. You voluntarily took it. अगर तुम अपनी मर्जी से पी लेते दारू, ठीक है, तो ही क्या यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा चेंज होता? तो यहाँ पे वॉलेंट्री इनवॉलेंट्री इंटॉक्सिकेशन की बात नहीं करता है, यहाँ पे सिर्फ अनसाउंडनेस ऑफ माइंड की बात करता है। अनसाउंडनेस आप किसी भी वजह, आपने खुद से पियो, आपको किसी ने जबरदस्ती पिला दी हो, आप अनसाउंड हो। लेकिन जब हम क्राइम को पढ़ेंगे, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट क्राइम, यू सी voluntary intoxication, involuntary intoxication both play a major part. You kill someone under the on the pretext that you have consumed a lot of liquor and you are not able to decide, but you consumed it all that liquor by your own self. खुद गए थे दोस्तों के साथ दारू पीने, बैठ के पी रहे थे, किसी के सिर पर डंडा मार दिया, सर फोड़ दिया, ठीक है, और वो मर गया। तो यहाँ पे कोर्ट तुमसे पूछेगा, द लॉ विल आस्क यू whether you took that drink voluntarily or whether someone made you drink that drink forcefully. Now when you say I drink that, I took that drink voluntarily, law बोलेगा इधर आ, मारेगा एक लपड़, जेल भेज देगा तुम। और when you say the involuntary, it was that I did not do it, I don't know, someone mixed it in my water, someone mixed it in my juice. Now the law will presume that there was no such intention for you to commit such a dreadful act. So we'll deal with it when we'll come to the offense of culpable homicide and murder. We haven't dealt with it for any one of you. We'll deal with it. But you need to understand what is unsound mind and when you are incompetent to contract. So when you are of unsound mind, that also means that your consent is not free. That your consent is not free. So both are interrelated. Both are interrelated. So free consent should be there. The parties should be above 18 years of age. And the parties should be in their hosh o hawas mein decide for a lawful consideration. For a lawful consideration. For a lawful consideration means पैसे का आदान प्रदान बताया था मैंने. You want to buy this phone from me? All right. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of this deal between me and you? To buy a phone. That is the object that we talk about. Lawful object, lawful consideration. Lawful object means what is the purpose of the contract. And consideration means what is the term being shared. So I am giving you this phone. This becomes the consideration for you to get this phone from me. What becomes the consideration for me? To have the money from you for this phone. The object should be lawful, which means that any activity done which is not allowed by law will not be considered as a contract. Which means that if I give Tanushree today a certain amount, that I'll refund your fee if you kill Mudit today. You go about and kill Mudit today. So that particular thing, the object of killing someone is illegal. It's itself an illegal act. I pay Mudit today a lot of amount. I'll refund all your fees if you attack Tanushree and loot away the essentials of her house. So the purpose of the contract, the object of the contract is not allowed by the law. Hence it becomes unlawful. So the object should also be lawful, and whatever you are moving in exchange for something should also be allowed in terms of law. Like I mentioned that, let's say you buy certain thing on Amazon and you pay in Bitcoin. Bitcoins are not allowed in India. Bitcoin is a currency that is not legal in India. It will not be termed as a contract because the consideration was not allowed, permissible in the Indian law. There are a lot of instances, situations that CLAT consortium will put you forth from these essentials only. Essentials that I'm marking here. And are not. Again, see, and like I mentioned, for every and, you have to replace it with plus. For every and, you have to replace it with plus. For every or, you have to put a what we call it, forward slash, correct? So all agreements are contracts. Usually we see all agreements are contract, provided that they are made by the free consent of the parties are competent to contract, the consideration is lawful, the object is lawful, and such a contract is not expressly declared to be void. Such a contract and such are not hereby expressly declared to be void. Let's say today Parliament passes a law where it says that the Parliament passes a law today and says that nobody can sell a car that is registered before 2015. Parliament makes a law today, amends the Motor Vehicle Act, and states that nobody can purchase or sell a car that is registered with road transport organizations before 2015. Now, even if prima facie you believe that the object of this contract is to buy a car, an old Porsche you want to buy, Porsche, old Porsche car you want to buy, that was somewhere in 1990s, and it's a lawful thing, right, to buy a car, and now you are paying in hard cash, you are paying in money, lawful consideration, right? Free consent is also there. He wants to sell his old car. I want to buy his car because I like it. It's an antique item, right? And the consent is also free. And I am above 18. The seller is above 18. We are not intoxicated. We are of sound mind. Agreed. But then, what the last thing states that it should not be expressly declared to be void, which means that there is a certain law in India that does not allow me to buy or sell that car. So ultimately, if all the essentials are satisfied and the last essential is not satisfied, this agreement still would not be considered as a contract. For agreements, you cannot sue a person in a court of law. For contracts, you can sue a person in a court of law. For what? For what? For the breach of that contract. For the breach of that contract. So breach of the contract, compensation of the contract is altogether a different aspect that you will read when you enter into the law school and you read in your first semester Indian Contract Act. Right now, from CLAT perspective, whatever is important is that what do we mean by agreements? What are the certain principles of free consent? What are the certain principles of lawful consideration and lawful object? And we are trying to deal with the most important section, section 10. Apart from this, there is section 2 that we'll discuss one by one. Then there is section 23 that we'll discuss. Then there is section 73, 74, 75. Only the principles are to be discussed. You don't have to remember the section name. Mark my words. You don't have to. So again, we move ahead. We move ahead with this. The last part. I hope this is clear. This is clear to all. Wait till we complete it. Have patience till we complete the entire premise. Now we are reading whatever is put in the bracket. Nothing herein contained shall affect any law in force in India. Nothing herein contained means यहाँ पे दी हुई कोई भी बात, shall affect, असर डालेगी, will impact, shall affect any law in force in India. यहाँ पे दी हुआ, here whatever is stated will not affect any law that is right now in force, any law that is there in India as of now, and not hereby expressly repeat. Just cut it down right now. It will confuse you. It's too technical. Nothing herein contained shall affect any law in force in India by which, and को भी काट देते हैं, पूरा statement काट दिया हमने. So nothing herein contained. ठीक? क्या बच्चों लिखा है? I told you the difference between may and shall. Whenever a word you encounter a word in any principle as may and shall, you need to understand two things. The difference. May means that it is up to the discretion of the court. It is up to the discretion of the court. That the court will decide. न्यायालय decide करेगा कि ये चीज सही हुई कि गलत. May, but whenever it is there is shall, which means that the parliament had the intention while making the law to make it as an obligation. ऐसा ही होगा. Whenever you hit me with a rod, it shall be considered as murder. Assume I put a statement. Whenever you hit me with a rod, it shall be considered as murder. One statement. Whenever you hit me with a rod, it may be considered as murder. Both actually from grammatical point of view sounds, I mean, we can construe them to mean a similar thing, but it is not in time, in law. Both are different. Whenever you hit me with a rod, it shall be a murder if it is stated somewhere. Means that if you are hitting me rod even in a playful manner, in a jolly manner, सिर पे ऐसे टपकी मार रहे, वो murder हो जाएगा. वो murder ही होगा. It shall be because it is the word shall. होगा ही होगा. Whenever you hit me with a rod and it says that it may be murder, which means that now the court will decide whether there was any injury caused, whether you were apparently dead, whether are you not walking alive in the court. So such things would be considered. I mean, it's a very vague example to put forth before you, but then we need to understand that. All right, Ashima, you came. You took your maths class. How was it? Is it good? कैसा था grade up पे? All good. All right. So you actually are lucky enough. अभी newspaper start नहीं हुआ है. So right now you are entering in the right time. But see, there are a lot of substantial things that have been covered. Do not worry. तो हमने क्या डिस्कस किया कि इट मे और इट शैल में. तो यहाँ पे क्या दिया हुआ है बच्चों, मे और शैल का डिफरेंस आपको समझना है. आप क्लैट कंसोर्टियम की वेबसाइट में जाके लीगल वाला पार्ट पढ़िएगा, वहां पे लिखा हुआ है कि ये डिफरेंसेस आपको पता होने चाहिए. May, shall, and, or. It is expressly stated. And I believe that the CLAT consortium in 2020 had a lot of passages and instances tried to bluff the students on this part itself. So let's move ahead. By which any contract is required to be made in writing. So let's complete the statement. Nothing herein contained shall affect law enforcement. It will not affect the law enforcement by which any contract is required to be made in writing. Which means that if there is any law that says that the contract has to be written down somewhere, it should be on pen and paper mode, then one more essential is added, that it cannot be verbal, it has to be in writing. So let's say if there is any agreement for, buying some certain movable property, or for a movable property we have like television, then you say that there is an obligation for the seller to give you a receipt that the seller has received from Harshvardhan Tripathi amount of rupees 85,000 for buying an Samsung OLED TV. Which means that all the terms of the contract are there. That receipt is given to you as a proof, as a pramar that you have paid that amount to that particular seller and you are the buyer. So two parties, free consent and everything. But buying a movable property also means that the receipt has to be given. It is a legal obligation, which means that the receipt serves as a written contract. That receipt serves, if the buyer gives you any टूटा फूटा सामान, ठीक है, not in a good state, you have the right to sue that seller. If the seller gives you any not so good object is in a very perilous state, you have the right to sue the seller. So if there is any law that says that the contract has to be in writing, it has to be in writing, and it also should be made by the free consent. The parties should making the contract should also be competent. There should be lawful consideration, there should be lawful object, and the contract should not be expressly declared to be void by any law. So one more essential is added, that it should be in writing. I mean, the above principles will not affect the clause that it should be in writing. It should be in writing, which means that it should be writing along with all the above principles. Getting my point? Apart from that, second thing that is mentioned, or, where it is mentioned, or. So you put a forward slash मारा. मतलब या तो writing में होगा, या अगर कहता है कि in the presence of witnesses, or any law relating to the registration of documents. So there are three things that are mentioned here. Part 1, there is second part, and this is the third part. So the first part states that the contract has to be in writing, then it has to be in writing. The second part states that it should be in the presence of witnesses. I mentioned an example. Ek example kya diya maine? I gave you an example where it was expressly stated that if you are getting into an agreement to buy a piece of land, ask your dad or mom, whoever has brought any property, a flat, a piece of land, a plot, any immovable property. It mentions two things. The law, Transfer of Property Act and Civil Procedure Code mentions two things. I mean, all lands are transferred under Transfer of Property Act. Remember this. And whatever the procedure is followed is mentioned in Civil Procedure Code. Remember this. The Transfer of Property Act mentions explicitly that any land, plot, or any machinery fixed to the land that cannot be removed, right, has to be registered. The sale agreement, the sale contract has to be registered. What do we mean by registered? Registered means that it should be there on a judicial paper. What are judicial papers? The stamp papers. 10 का, 100 का, 500 का, you know, when you pay the stamp duty. तो आप कहीं पे आपके स्कूल में भी एक डिक्लेरेशन आपसे एफिडेविट नाम का लिया जाता है. स्कूल्स में भी एफिडेविट निकाल लिया जाता है कि if your ward is found guilty of any such illegal activities, the school has the complete authority to debar your child, to punish your child, to expel the student with immediate effect. If the student is found guilty of this and this. So it is written on a stamp paper, registered document. That becomes a very binding contract, and it is there in the law that school has to take such affidavits from students. Because any student under 18, if doing such activities, stealing phones and all, stealing someone's lunch box, stealing someone's pencil box, is not actually a good activity. So they take this affidavit from your parents. You do not know, but you ask your parents, they must have given that affidavit. If the school has a very good system. So the law requires you to register a document. You have to get it registered, which means that all the above essentials have to be followed, plus has to be registered also. Transfer of property states that no such land would be sold without the signature of witnesses. Means I want to sell, let's say, something to Ashima or Aditya. I want to sell my piece of land to Aditya. Aditya, and we make a document, registered document, 100 रुपए के स्टैम्प पेपर में एग्रीमेंट लिखते हैं हम दोनों ही साइन करते हैं, और वो मैं सोचता हूँ कि वो जमीन मुझे मिल गई, वो जमीन मुझे मिल गई. मुझे बेचनी थी क्या? मुझे बेचनी थी, चलो आजित को खरीदनी थी, तो मैंने साइन करवा दिया, और आजित ये सोच रहा है कि मुझे तो जमीन मिल गई और मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि मैंने बेच दी. ठीक है, मैंने जमीन बेच दी, तो क्या होगा? दिस इज फॉर ऑल. तो क्या होगा कि पे लॉ रिक्वायर करता है कि आपके विटनेस प्रेजेंट होने चाहिए. जब विटनेसेस
आधे घंटे में क्या?
पार्डन? तो विटनेसेस प्रेजेंट होने चाहिए. तो जब यहाँ पे बात होती है कि विटनेसेस प्रेजेंट होने चाहिए, तो विटनेस हैज टू बी देयर हैज टू बी 2-3 people who need to sign that. So these all essentials, these all principle becomes important. Technical points become important for you all. You have to give a reading to the legal passages in this slide, mentioning, breaking down, breaking down the essentials, separating the wheat from the chaff, likewise. So I hope ये तुम्हें clear हो रहा होगा. The next activity, the next thing that I wanted to discuss was public nuisance, section 268 of Indian Penal Code. Now let's read it. I'll simply read it before you people, and I'll share the slide, or you can read section 268 from Google itself, and then I'll come to you with certain illustrations, certain cases. Now, but before that, let me do a simple activity. Let me do a simple activity with you people. You know the principle, you actually got the principle right, correct? तुम लोग को principle correct समझ में आ गया. Now A calls B to ask whether he is ready to sell the car that B owns. B replies, yes, I am ready to sell the car. A texts quote quote me the price. B replies, I'll call you back. For 2 days, B, for 2 days, A did not receive any call. For 2 days, A did not receive any call. A sues B for breach of contract. Whether B would be liable or not.
No.
Whether B would be liable or not. Why? Why no? Why no?
क्योंकि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बना ही नहीं है ना.
क्योंकि सर पहली बात तो कि यहाँ पे कंसिडरेशन तो कुछ मूव ही नहीं हुआ. यहाँ पे एक प्रॉमिस बना कि कार बेचना है, कार मैं खरीदना चाहता हूँ, तुम बेचना चाहते हो क्या? हाँ मैं बेचना चाहता हूँ. पर उसने बोला कि कोट मी द प्राइस. बी ने बोला आई विल कॉल यू बैक. तो प्रॉमिस तो बन गया लेकिन कोई कंसिडरेशन मूव नहीं हुआ. फॉर 2 days A did not receive any call from B. Then A sues B for breach of contract. So this is a very simple hypothetical situation. I told you, consensus at ATM के समय मैंने बताया था कि जो चीज आप खरीदना चाहते हो, because it's not on writing paper, no witness, therefore no contract. Divyanshi, not legally binding and presented digitally. Okay, you see the difference now. I get the difference exactly. 2021 और 2022 के बच्चों में एग्जैक्ट डिफरेंस आ रहा है. क्या आ रहा है? 2021 के बच्चे सिर्फ वही चीज अप्लाई कर रहे हैं जो उन्होंने प्रिंसिपल में सीखा है. 2022 के बच्चे अपना एडिशनल नॉलेज अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, मैंने सिर्फ सवाल पूछा whether B would be liable or not, yes or no. So you said, all of you said no. That's correct. None of you asked, none of you was asked the reasoning behind. But when I asked the reasoning behind, the reasons are different. So now getting it, 2022 aspirants, where we have to work. I'll tell you where we have to work. Just hold on, have patience. And for newspaper reading, please join the link again.